Hi, Peter Charles here, Hooked for Life Fly Fishing, and today we're going to tie the long-tailed March Brown. I know there's lots of March Brown patterns out there, but I kind of like this one with a long tail. I think it would rather look good in the water and swim well. So let's get started looking at the material. Our hook is a size 8 in a traditional wet fly hook. It's like a 3906B mustad hook. Our thread is a 10-aught black Veevus. Our tail is wood duck. Our rib is this yellow neon thread. The pattern calls for a yellow thread. Now, I'm using this 1/0 because it's nice and fat and it'll show up and it'll be nice and bright. But any kind of thick yellow thread's going to do the job. Our body is Hares Ear. Our wing case is Mottled turkey. And we're going to use Partridge, brown Partridge, for the hackle. So let's get started. Okay, just bring it back to the hook point. Now, one of the things you can do here, when you're tying in tails, if you want, you can add a bump of thread just past the point like that. And then when you tie in your tail, it will help to splay it. And this is a long tail version, so you want to make sure there's lots of tail behind there. And we'll just, a couple of wraps. Now we're going to put in our yellow thread. And now we'll hackle. Now for our dubbing. Now for our rib. If the tail's moving, just give it a moment to put it back into place. And now for our turkey quill. Now I'm going to use a fairly broad turkey quill here. This slip is going to be fairly broad. I want this to be a little bit wide. Now we're going to put in a little bit more dubbing. Let me take a moment to talk about this quill, what I've done with it. One of the things you can do is when you're working with quills, sometimes things can get a little bit separated and a little bit fiddly to work with. What I do is I spray these with lacquer. And then they'll hold together quite nicely. And when you're working with them, they're pretty solid to work with. So remember that little trick. Just spray them with some lacquer, let them dry, and then, man, they're great to work with. One of the things I like to do is pull some of this stuff back from the eye of the hook. Give yourself some room there. Now we're going to tie in the hackle. Now this is not heavy, it's kind of sparse. You notice I've just used a small amount here. I've stripped off most of the barbs. Just stroke everything back. And lastly, fold the wing case over. Get the barbs out of the way. Loose wrap, then pull up to tighten. Once it's in place, give it a few firm wraps. Okay, there's our long-tail March Brown. I think that's a rather cool pattern. I'm going to like fishing this early season when the March Browns are emerging. I think this will be a really cool pattern and work quite well. So give it a try, the long-tail March Brown. Cheers.